20 years. It doesn't sound like a lot, right? In 20 years, I could have my own family started, with my own kids and my own husband. In 20 years, I could have my own house and have all of my college debt paid off. But in 20 years, it could be too late for mankind as we know it. In 20 years, our planet will have so much heat trapping in carbon dioxide that there will be no turning back to save our planet. Our Earth will be an unlivable place if we don't turn around the effects of climate change. Pollution, deforestation, and production of methane gas and CO2 are all causing temperature increases and destroying our environment. Our animals are losing their habitats and sources for food, water, and oxygen. However, we can reverse these effects if we start changing many small things in our life. Many believe that that climate change is a myth or that there's nothing they can do about it. In the article Climate Change, Food, Water, and Population Health in China, the writers discuss the effects of climate change in China. They talk about how the consequences of climate change will be felt in all of the world's continents and countries. While climate change continues around us, temperature increases will continue, and there will be changes in precipitation patterns that will lead to rises in our sea levels and climatic zonal shifts. Climate change has already appeared to increase floods, droughts, storms, and more. In 2001, a drought in China caused a temporary shortage in drinking water for 33 million rural people and 22 million livestock. This costed China an estimated $6.4 billion United States dollars in lost crop production. This means that while we're not just losing habitat and sources for water for our animals and losing breathable air, we're also making the world hunger problem even worse. Basically, if we solve climate change and reverse the effects of that, we can solve many, many more problems going on in our world, such as world hunger, habitat loss, animal extinctions, and the toxins in our air. We can make our air and our water both healthier just by reversing climate change. According to WorldWildlife.org, 8 million tons of plastic is dumped or leaked into the ocean every year. This plastic that is going into our oceans could be recycled instead. And imagine, with all of that is going into our ocean, imagine the amount that is going into landfills also. Some of the small ways that we can reverse climate change is by recycling, using reusable cups, straws, bags, such as this reusable cup and reusable straw, such as this one, which is metal. Using things like that can wipe out the amount of plastic used by disposable cups, disposable straws that are killing animals in our oceans, animals in our forests, animals that are consuming these things, and it is killing them off in a horrible, horrible way. We can also learn how to fix or sell things instead of throwing them away, which can save so much landfill space. Nowadays, whenever something is broken, people decide that it's no good anymore and that they just have to throw it away, instead of taking the time to learn how to fix it, or finding somebody who can use it and fix it, or use it for parts and create something completely different. Like if you had a vacuum that is broken, instead of throwing it away, you can either learn how to fix it and start using it again, or you can sell it to somebody who can use it for parts to create something completely new. In an article called The Role of Consumer Behavior and Issues Related to the Environment, it showed that Japan recycles 40% of its waste. This relatively high rate is partly due to their social value that is attributed to recycling in Japan. So people in our country can learn how to recycle more and to use things in ways that will not harm our planet. In another article called Organization, the writer explains how online reuse networks seek to reduce waste by connecting people who have something they no longer want with others who have a use for it. So like I said about a broken vacuum, or just an old vacuum that you don't use anymore. On these websites such as Freegal and FreeCycle, you can find people who want those things and they can do something with it rather than just throwing it away. And this not only saves landfill space from throwing those things away, but it can also save the person who wants those things money by buying something used rather than something brand new that we don't necessarily need, because there's so many things already on this planet that we're just wasting by throwing away. Another thing that we can do is by eliminating styrofoam. Styrofoam cannot be recycled, and I'm speaking about specifically styrofoam cups. By using a reusable cup such as this one instead of using styrofoam, which can't be recycled, if you burn it, it releases so many different toxins into the air. It will massively help the planet. McDonald's even took a big step by switching from their styrofoam cups, which honestly, a lot of people were very upset about this because they were so convenient. They kept their drinks cold longer. But McDonald's took the step from switching from styrofoam to plastic. McDonald's even said, while about 2% of our packaging by weight is currently foam, we believe that this small step is an important use in our journey. An important one in our journey. In another study done, it showed that one disposable cup every day equals 23 pounds of waste per year. Starbucks even hosted a study which showed that each paper cup manufactured is responsible for 0.24 pounds of CO2 emissions. This adds up to 3 million pounds of waste and 6,000 tons of CO2 being generated per year. 3 million pounds of waste just from one disposable cup used every day. Another study also shows that 2.5 million plastic bottles are thrown away every year instead of being recycled. All of that plastic that is ending up in our oceans, ending up in landfills, it can be recycled instead of thrown away. It takes hundreds of years for just one plastic bottle to decompose into our planet. I also conducted a study, an interview with my mom, because she also cares about the environmental issues and saving our planet. And she said that people can make a big difference just by taking a glass mason jar and buying food from local farmers markets rather than buying packaged fruits, veggies, nuts, and grains that build up the use of plastic. So basically by taking one glass jar, or however many glass jars you need for all of the food that you're planning on eating, you can take those to local farmers markets, buy food, and store them in glass jars rather than buying out of plastic that is going to be thrown away or end up in the oceans, whatever. You can just reuse these glass jars over and over and over again. Another way that we could help reduce the amount of plastic and styrofoam ending up in our oceans and stuff is by making recycling bins more accessible. Imagine if every restaurant, every store, and every main street that you go on had a recycling bin as well as a trash can next to it. This would massively help the amount of waste being put into our oceans every year and put into landfills every year if there was more access to recycling bins, because a lot of people don't want to take the small amount of time to rinse out their cups, find places to recycle or store it up. And lastly, if we start using reusable shopping bags as well as the reusable cups and straws, if we start using reusable shopping bags, this could massively help the amount of plastic being used every year. Walmart goes through so many plastic bags a day. Imagine if every shopper came with their own reusable shopping bag. This would massively, massively help the amount of plastic being used every year. So while people think that they are only one person and that they won't make a difference, this is completely not true. One person creates 4 pounds of waste every day, which adds up to 1,500 pounds per year. So even if just one person changes small things in their everyday life, they can make a huge impact on saving our planet. Thank you.